Hello everyone, Thomas Fyrehart here. I haven't done a proper video in quite a while on either of the channels that I currently have, even though normally I would do this because it's me on my own on my Fire Hangouts channel, but I've all but decided to abandon that, but just leave it up because I don't know how to get those videos over to here. Plus those videos actually have views, so I'll leave them. But anyway, I just wanted to get a bunch of shit off my chest. And I figured just ranting to thin air or in text form with people is just not doing it justice. So I'm going to just ramble here for a while. So put this on in the background of something that you're doing if you're watching after the fact. But yeah. Okay. Main point of discussion, at least to begin with, the Taken King. I don't care about any of that collector's edition bullshit or the fucking oh god, what was it again? Like, you know, those emotes things. Like, I don't give a shit. They're fucking emotes. What do I really care? But the fact that in Australia, the DLC on its motherfucking own, from what I saw, is like $69.95 Australian for what seems to be the DLC for Taken King on its own. That to me seems like bullshit for now. I have to emphasize for now because for all I know, they'll end up basically coming out and saying, well, yeah, this is obviously bigger than the previous one, but we'll show you exactly how bigger. And if that how bigger turns out to be basically Destiny, what was already in Destiny from the get-go, or at least, you know, pre-expansion, again, then maybe they can justify it. Because I paid $68 for Destiny only because the store I got it from, I told them that somewhere else, and they checked, of course, I wasn't bullshitting them, that another store had it for $69. So I got it for $68. Which means that I would actually be spending more money. Obviously not much more, but the price I paid for the game over again, plus like an extra $1 or $2, just for DLC alone. That is bullshit. Should it be free? No. But come on. That is way too fucking expensive. Again, as I said, if they can manage to justify to me that that's a reasonable price for what we're getting, then I might change my mind. But for now, this annoys the shit out of me. Even if I had money to throw around, this would still piss me off. Because there'd be other people that wouldn't be able to afford that. Because, like, they would have had to save it for a while just to get that game if they were in a situation like that. Now they've got to do the same thing again if they just want to get this. So at the moment, I'm not getting Taken King. That's as far as that's going. If it goes down in price after release or before release or something like that, maybe I'll consider it. Or again, if they justify that that price is about reasonable for what we'll be getting, and it's not just what we got in The Dark Below or House of Wolves, which together were half the price of this. Half! Those two together, the expansion pass was like $32 or something here. Or 34, I forget. But generally it was like under $40. This is pushing 70. If that just means that it's got like double the content of both of those combined, then they'll have an argument. But at the moment, again, we don't really know much, so I'm just pissed that they're pricing that so high. Obviously, the collector's edition is going to be priced high because it's a fucking collector's edition. Duh. But the DLC on its own is what I'm talking about. And that's bullshit to me. Now, moving on from that, the funny thing is, as much as the DLC price, or the Season Pass price for Arkham Knight pisses me off as well, to a degree, not as much, but it's a Season Pass that's like $59. So that's 6 months worth of content for $59.95 Australian. After I'll probably have to fork out, after I had to fork out $83 for the game. Probably would have saved a bit more, but I forgot to bring up that somewhere else had that cheaper. So I got $5 off Yoshi's Woolly World when I got that today. Thank you, Game Traders. But that, I'm basically like, Arkham Knight, I'll give a bit of a pass because it's not as expensive as the fucking Destiny one. And I don't know exactly, like that one's sort of a I'll believe it when I see it kind of season pass, where it's like they're saying it's 6 months worth of content and it's not just what the other season passes were, which weren't really worth much to begin with, but at least they were cheap. Or at least I think there was only one season pass, wasn't there? There was one for Arkham Origins, but I don't think there was one for Arkham City. Sorry. I wouldn't even know if there was one for Arkham Asylum because when I got that was the Game of the Year edition. So there you go. That already had all the DLC on it. But that's still annoying because, again, I don't know if that's actually going to be worth it. We'll have to wait until the individual things are priced so we can see if it's worth it. Because if they're going to be really expensive and we're saving quite a lot, then that's fair enough. Because that's the idea. Season passes are supposed to be cheaper than the things combined. Otherwise, there's no point. Which brings me to the WWE 2K15 DLC. 2K14, the season pass for that covered everything. Granted, that was only wrestlers. So, like, yeah, additional wrestlers, moves, stuff like that. 2K15, oh, shut up, phone, I'm not answering you. 2K15 had the showcase mode things, and that's all they covered, the 3 showcase DLC things. At least I think it was 3. And you could argue that at least gave 3 what are essentially kind of story mode-y things, but they're incredibly short. The Ultimate Mario one more so than the others because like one match isn't even a match. It's basically just a quick time event. And the other one is hit 2 moves, you're done. Because they're both squash matches that he was involved with. So I'm just thinking, why did they even put them on there then? Just leave them off. There's no real point in having them. Like, just have them as cutscenes or something. Don't have an actual match for that. That was stupid. You could, like, I was thinking, oh, because they had this one be really fucking short, they're going to have they're going to have like an extra one so we can actually play a full match. Nope. And yeah, you get like every wrestler you face, and even the wrestlers you play as, you unlock that version of that wrestler. So in the Ultimate Warrior one, you unlock what amounts to the Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter, some manager I can't remember the name of. You unlock 2 or 3 versions of the Ultimate Warrior, which it's like, why don't they just unlock as attires for the existing characters? Or like, it's one DLC character, but then all the other DLC related stuff to that character just adds on to an outfit for that one. Because you unlock like 2 Ultimate Warriors, 2 2 Ultimate Warriors, 2 Sheamus, 2 Alberto Del Rio, 1 or 2 Mark Henrys, 1 or 2 Randy Ortons, and it's like, we're just getting 1 or 2 Alberto Del Rios. You're just getting double ups at fucking everything. So the only few that you get that are actually like, this is the only version of this person on this game, Evil Sergeant Slaughter, Iron Sheik as that other gimmick, and that one manager dude that's kind of there. You get Honky Tonk Man. You unlock. Oh yeah, Rick Rude. You get Rick Rude. You get Macho King, Randy Savage. I think you also, by virtue of that, get Sensational Sherry. I don't think she's actually like a playable diva though. She's only a manager, which kind of sucks. Because her as playable diva would kind of be nice. But yeah, like, yeah. At the very least, you get a lot of wrestlers with that. And then you look at the actual wrestler sort of packs that are outside of the Showcase Season Pass, which at least they were smart enough to call it a Showcase Season Pass, because that's what it is. You look at the wrestler packs, the WCW one has maybe like, what? Let's see, it's got Finlay, Regal, Bam Bam Bigelow, Lex Luger, and DDP. So about 5 guys. I'm pretty sure the equivalent DLC they had for 2K14 had about 7 guys in it. I could be wrong, but it came with Nash, Hall, Scott Steiner, Mr. Perfect, the Giant, technically, even though he was the free part of the DLC. Virgil, I think. No, he was part of another one. God, there was a few more. Ah, yeah. 6 Park. And like, I think there was one other guy. I could be wrong, but that's 6. And most of the DLC packs in that had 6. And this one, they dumb it down like slightly. And what kind of bugs me about the WCW one, at least, is Bam Bam Bigelow looks good. Regal looks good. Finlay the hair looks weird, but that to me, that's probably just hair on Finley looks weird when he's usually effectively bald. And then you've got DDP, who looks fucking horrible in that game. And and you know what? The game is still glitchy as hell to a point. There are still glitches in that game that I only discovered a few days ago, and I find that to be really pathetic. But hey, there are still fucking glitches in 2K14, but they're just not as noticeable because they're not as bad. It really pains me because 2K14 I thought was really well done, and 2K15 was just they left so much shit out and still charged regular retail price for that shit. Then make you pay extra for DLC, because I think that DLC pack actually cost more than the 2K14 one. So that was bullshit. You were only saving like $3 or $4 by getting that. At least in Australian currency anyway. And as far as just to make it go back to DLC, I'll switch over to Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat X. Fun game. To be honest, there's a lot of people that shit on that game or like will not get that game purely because of the DLC crap. And if you're one of those people, fuck you. You can get the game and not get the DLC. That's what I've done. I haven't bothered with the season pass yet because it was like $44 to begin with, and all they had to show is 4 characters. 4 and like what? 15 character skins, which honestly, the character skins, I'd probably just you know what? I probably wouldn't even bother with any of them. And from what I've played of the DLC characters, Jason's a bit meh. His fucking fatalities are horrible. Because the funny thing is, you don't have to get the DLC to play as some of these characters. You just have to wait for a friggin' living tower to come around that uses them. Because after Jason was released, there was a Jason tower, so I got to play as Jason without having the DLC. When they released, what's her name, Tanya or whatever, I got to play as her because they did a tower for her. And she doesn't play all that bad, but, and she, honestly, I'd argue she plays better than Jason does. But, and I guess it's smart because it's making you want to get the DLC, but honestly, I'm going to wait. Because even though that DLC's gone down in price, $7, which I'm guessing they only did because it wasn't selling very well. Or hell, maybe I'm wrong and it was the opposite. It was selling so well, the season pass for MKX was selling so well that they actually lowered the price because of that, rather than a reaction to it not selling. But I'd argue it was probably the fact that it wasn't, or at least not selling as well as they hoped it would. So now it's like $37 something rather than $44. So about a $6 or $7 drop, which, you know, kudos to them. But again, 4 characters. Don't even count the skins, because the skins are just taking the character model that already exists and tweaking it a bit. There's no real difference aside from aesthetic difference. like, you know, if the new outfits gave them something different, then you could argue, okay, this is something that I could actually invest money in. But it just, I don't know. Nintendo seems to handle DLC pretty good. So I don't know what the fuck everyone else is doing. I'm pretty sure I got the Mario Kart 8 DLC, both packs, for under $20. And the Mario Kart 8 DLC is basically Mario Kart 8.5. Because there are 16 unlockable tracks from that. So that's 4 new courses, 4 new cups with 4 races each. Yeah, character-wise, they kind of skimp out a bit, and you get like another Mario, another Peach, another Bowser, but you also get a villager from Animal Crossing, Isabelle from Animal Crossing, Link, and I think that's it. And you get like colors for different colors for Yoshi, and fucking uh, different colors for the Shy Guys. But you know, overall, it's worth it for the tracks alone. And if it's over $20, it's not much over $20 for both. So uh, even the Smash DLC is pretty good. Like Mewtwo on his own was like $5 something, at least in Australia. Might be cheaper or more expensive in North America, I'm not sure. But here it was like $5. Means that I can't get the bundle now. That Mewtwo would have been involved with, because I bought him pretty much just to test that my card was still working, but that's another story for another day. As you can tell, this is very rambly, and luckily I tagged it as such. But it just annoys the shit out of me, this sort of stuff. Like, do I think we should get stuff for free? No. Should it necessarily be so damn cheap that there's no literal way they can make money off it? No. But you have to price shit reasonably. Otherwise, people aren't going to buy it. I mean, yeah, they're going to be people that blindly buy it. And as far as I'm concerned, those people are a bit dumb. But Christ, like, I'm trying to think of another example, to be honest. But as far as like DLC and shit goes, I think that's about it. Taken King, I'm not getting until they drop the price for it. Not it and everything else. Because I already bought it. I've already got Destiny. I've already got the 2 expansions that have already been released. I am buying that thing on its own. And you can do that. But it's the price of the game again. So it seems really fucking stupid and pointless. Like, if you only had the digital version, now you can get the physical copy of it. That's fair enough. At least you didn't get the physical copy already. I did. There have been times where I have bought a game twice. But that's either because it's the Game of the Year edition, or I just wanted it for another console. Like, I have the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions of Tekken Tag Tournament. Both of those did not cost me over $50. I got Tekken Tag 2 cheap for the Xbox 360 because it was like, it had been out for ages. So it had been marked down where I got it to like under $30. And I got Tekken Tag 2 for about the same, under $30. So if it cost me over $40, it wasn't very much over that. And that was like a year or two apart when I did that. And was partially so if a friend of mine, Grindhead Jim, ever wanted to play me at Tekken Tag 2, the option is there. Or if anyone else I know who has a PS3, who has that specific version of that game, wants to play me on it online, the option is there. What else have I got to ramble on about? I mean, I might as well keep going. If I can think of anything. If I can't, then, I'll stop. I don't know, it probably comes off as really depressing. But, if I had anything good to say, this wouldn't be called a rant. So, well, you know what? Fuck it. What do you guys think? Anyone who ends up watching this at any point, what's your opinion? Do you think that all these DLC season passes, whatever, are reasonably priced? Do you think that they're worth it? Because I can tell you there's been one or two season passes that I kind of ended up regretting getting. Because it really did not seem worth it. And just to leave on something that I wanted to leave on that's not related to DLC. It's not related to whatever. We're going back to 2K. 2K16. 2K14 to 2K16. 2K14 was good. They got the sloppy seconds of THQ, but by God, I had fun with that game. The DLC was decent and all that other shit. Then 2K, and they actually had stuff to show and showed it off before the game released. They did streams on Twitch showing off gameplay. Last year for 2K15, nothing. One montage of gameplay near release. That was it. That's how little they had to show, because that game has half. Even with all they added, it feels like, anyway, it's got half the content that 2K14 had. I've seen the point argued, and it does have some merit, that this is their 2K. This is 2K's first try. 2K15 was 2K's first try at a WWE game where they were doing it all themselves. So this was the building blocks for 2K16. And if that turns out to be the case and 2K16 has a fuckload more content and all that other shit, by comparison, and all the shit they took out, put back in, aside from create a title, because if they bring that back, fuck me. Do not have the 2K14 creator title mode. That was fucking horrible. It was basically just reskin an existing belt, slightly change it, recolor it. That's all you can do. That's bullshit. Pretty much all the create a something options were extremely limited. So I hope they kick that back up. And honestly, if you only have a PS3 or Xbox 360, don't buy 2K16. Because 2K need to realize that there is no point in making a PS3 and Xbox 360 port of that game. Because they have exclusive modes for both, like they would last year. And look how that ended up. Everyone bitching about both versions of that game and really being put off. They need to scrap the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions. And what they need to do is only make PS4 and Xbox One. Not even a PC, because look how fucking long it took for them to even bring one out. They didn't even announce when it was coming out. It just came out 6 months after the release. And that's fine when your game is like GTA 5 or literally anything else that is not an annual release. But when you're making an annual release, you can't wait that long. Because that's unfair to the PC players. I mean, it obviously doesn't affect me because I'd be getting the console version. And I did get the console version of 2K15. But at this point, most PC players, I'd expect, would have just gone, well, why the fuck should I bother getting the PC version? Oh, why should I bother with 2K15 at all? I can just wait a couple months and get 2K16. Seriously. It'd be like fucking doing that for Assassin's Creed, which, yeah, they do usually have a bit of a. Like, hell, even then, you can argue that at least the games will be different and, like, distinguishably different. Most WWE games are basically the same thing. There'll be a few different modes, but otherwise, it's just prettier. And these wrestlers aren't in it anymore, and these wrestlers are in it. So I just really hope, because I hope that 2K16 is good. So I hope we actually get some gameplay this year, well before release. Well, you know what they should do? They should do a fucking beta for that. Like a few months out, do a beta. Because this shit that they pulled with 2K15 was just disappointing. I really like 2K14. 2K15, it has its redeeming qualities, but I regret pre-ordering it. To be honest, the main reason I got it was just because I liked most of the roster that they'd announced. Which, by the way, that's another thing they didn't do very well. They announced like 5 or 6 people and then nothing. And then right before release, they released the full roster. That was also really fucking stupid. I honestly hope, in a way, that 2K16 gets pushed back to December. Because considering what happened last year, I can pretty much guarantee that it will probably not be ready to be released when they release it. Because they only get a year to do these things. The only way they could get ahead of themselves is if they already had another team working on 2K17. That is literally the only way they could stay ahead of the game, is handling this like Ubisoft handles the Assassin's Creed games. The Assassin's Creed games are not made in a year, they're just released annually. They're actually like 4 years or 3 years or whatever of work put into those games. They're just released annually. Which, that's an entirely different conversation, which I would actually give its own video. But yeah, really hope they don't fuck up 2K16. I honestly kind of hope that by the time that game comes out, Sony announces that the PS4 will be able to save music. So at least even after the game comes out, 2K can patch in custom entrance music as an option. But if Sony don't do that, then we won't get it because there's nothing 2K can do about it. So that's pretty much all I think I'm going to say for now. God knows how long this has gone. But hey, once you clicked on this, you knew what you were getting into. It was called a ramble for a reason. So I hope to get back into making these kinds of videos and not just uploading gameplay footage in the near future. I might, but I don't know. I've been meaning to do reviews for the 3 pay-per-views we got in a 6-week span in like one video, just because I didn't do one for them individually already. So look out for that if you actually are into wrestling. That'll probably end up on here now. If it's not on here, it'll be on someone else's channel because it'll be done with other people. But yeah, for those that have actually kind of watched Ring of Fire Next Gen, I'm hoping to get that started up again, but really it'll depend on Troy's availability. So yeah, if someone actually sat through this entire thing, holy shit, good for you. You must be a very patient person. That or you're just doing something else and listening to this in the background. Anyway, I'm Thomas Fyrehart, and I will see you next time.